In the realm of NASCAR, only 3 automobile manufacturers hold representation. A stark contrast to the sport's extensive 75-year history where a diverse array of manufacturers ranging anywhere from Ford to Pontiac once graced the tracks. But over time, this diversity grew smaller. Dodge made its appearances, clinched victories, and then departed, returning briefly to secure a championship before once again dipping out of the sport. Hudson, a powerhouse in the 50s, met a fate of acquisition and merged with a weird car and fridge company. Foreshadowing. Pontiac, who were just starting to be renowned for their good-looking stock cars, exited the NASCAR scene in 2003. These manufacturers were winners, their legacies resonating through generations, even after they bid farewell to the sport. However, one small automaker remains obscure, overshadowed by the giants both on the track and in everyday life. Allow me to introduce you to NASCAR's forgotten auto manufacturer, the creator of what we will soon know as the Flying Brick, and my favorite automaker of all time, American Motors Corporation.
Maybe you didn't expect a family car like this in Detroit. But if you had to compete with the 3 biggest car companies in America, what would you do?
Before the iconic Big Three, there was the Big Three and AMC. In short, in 1954, Nash and Hudson Motor Company merged to form a fresh automotive brand to challenge the dominance of the Big Three. This was the birth of American Motors Corporation, AMC. Through the 50s and 60s, while the other manufacturers were making land barges, AMC focused on compact, fuel-efficient vehicles, which was really ahead of its time in many ways. Although not the cruising, floating on a cloud, driving machines of other competitors, AMC offered affordable, compact transportation, which was a smart choice for those seeking efficiency. But as the 60s rolled into the 70s, AMC faced declining sales. And despite it achieving a cult classic status today, the release of the quirky gremlin didn't help in any manner with their cause. However, in 1971, a new car emerged, the Matador. This was a turning point for AMC as they stepped into the world of stock car racing and secured support from NASCAR's fresh charter just a year later. That charter was Team Penske. You've probably heard of them. Mark Donohue was the first to drive an AMC in NASCAR, and almost as soon as the rubber meets the track for its first race at Riverside, other drivers are already calling it the Flying Brick. Keep in mind, this is 1972, less than 3 years after Chrysler Corp introduced the aero monsters that were the Daytona and Superbird. This thing is not aero dependent, and to add insult to injury, in AMC's first race, they would DNF on lap 13 due to rear end issues. Yikes. Penske would continue the 1972 season adding 2 more drivers, Donnie Allison and Dave Marcus. Marcus would be the most successful, scoring 3 top 10s out of only 7 starts and managing to finish the year 15th in points. In 1973, Donnie Allison was out of Penske to race for Dyegard in the 88 car, but Mark and Dave stayed, both racing part-time schedules. And unlike their first season, this time they'd hit the ground running. In the season opener for 73, at Riverside, the same track where they DNF'd on their first race the year prior, Mark Donohue brought home AMC's first ever NASCAR Winston Cup Series win and in dominating fashion, qualifying 4th and leading 138 of 191 laps. After only 14 starts, AMC was officially a NASCAR winning brand. And this would also be Mark Donohue's first and only NASCAR win. Meanwhile, Dave Marcus would run the Matador in 8 more races and score AMC and Penske another top 5 and 2 top 10s. But with the 1974 season came a huge change.
Introducing one of the biggest surprises of 1974.
Hey, nice.
The new American Motors Matador.
What kind of car is that, anyway?
You wouldn't believe me if I told you.
Hey, Freddie, hey, you got yourself a new car, huh?
You know.
What is it?
It's a midsize.
It's Chevelle.
No.
It's the Torino.
Nope.
It's Oh, it's magnificent. What is it?
It's an American Motors Matador.
It's a Matador!
Backed by the AMC Buyer Protection Plan. We back them better because we build them better.
1974 saw the introduction of the second generation AMC Matador, a sleeker, more aero-dependent product by American Motors inspired by European compact cars. It was admittedly not the best looking car on the block, but its smooth lines were a far cry from the malaise era boxes everyone else was offering. And this design would of course be the one representing AMC in NASCAR, as well as Penske, who were the only team fielding their brand. 1974 would see mixed results with their part-time drivers, but about 3/4 of the way into the season, Penske found themselves a new flag bearer. Enter 43-time NASCAR race winner, future Hall of Famer, and brother of Donnie, Bobby Allison. For the past few years, Bobby has been running solo for his own team, in the number 12 Coca-Cola Chevy. But when he gets the call from Roger Penske, the deal is just too good to pass up. He'll get to keep his number and his sponsorship, but now he'll be driving an AMC Matador. And in only his 6th running with Penske officially, Bobby would bring American Motors their long-awaited second win at the season closer at Ontario. For 1975, Bobby Allison would be the sole driver for Penske Racing, running a 19-race schedule to prepare the team for full-time in 1976. And this is where AMC's NASCAR program peaked. 10 top 5s, 10 top 10s, 3 pole awards, 578 laps led, and to top it all off, 3 wins, bringing AMC's win total to 5. The only issue was, their year-end season standings did not mirror this. 24th in the points standings. How? Well, being highly inconsistent helps. Out of 19 races, Bobby Allison DNF'd 9 times. And the bigger problem was, every single one of those was due to engine failures. Not something you really want when you're competing for championships, let alone representing a manufacturer. So in 1976, AMC would run one last race at the season opener again at Riverside. Bobby Allison qualified on the pole and led 18 laps, but would haul it home early on lap 149, once again due to an engine issue. After this, Penske switched over to Mercury, and just like that, AMC's NASCAR program was officially over. Their NASCAR journey was short-lived and inconsistent, but it made a significant impact. They boldly stood against the Giants, leaving an unforgettable mark in NASCAR history, and laying the foundations for the stock car giant we know today as Team Penske. Although silent today, AMC's legacy as a competitor and winner in NASCAR endures in the history books of the sport. And with that, we pay tribute to NASCAR's forgotten auto manufacturer, American Motors Corporation.